new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are, and like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and dreamers. We are restless believers.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. This is Gail of Gaia, Cherie Talaya, and I want to welcome everyone. Tonight we're stepping into remembrance and resonance rather than information overload. What is happening isn't theory anymore, it's unfolding. And many are starting to notice that some voices in the spiritual community are dividing people instead of uniting them. So tonight we're shifting the focus back to the heart of Source, Sophia, and Gaia, and the return of compassion and sovereignty. And Jenny's experience, and we can look at 3 years ago when she received a download that is now manifesting, and that is including the skies, the crystalline fields, and the inner memory. So let me bring Jenny on, and she can tell us even more about it. Welcome, Jenny.
Hey, hon, how are you?
I'm hanging in there. I'm doing pretty good. I'm a little bit worried about my dog today because she's acting kind of weird, but that's okay. I mean, I think she'll be all right. I think it's the energies. She's very sensitive to energies. And
yeah, the dogs get affected by that too. So it's part of the process too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely an issue. So yeah, I mean, so we're in these, and I call them the great times that we're in. And, we're in these times that are strong, and abundance is among us on every avenue. But I think the thing is people are very confused with the media because that's the whole idea is you don't know what's left, you don't know what's right, you don't know what is true, what is false. And it kind of gets you to understand the breakdown of the whole show that's unfolding, that everything's been presented as a show, and it's to confuse you till the very end. And not to figure it out until they really show you the truth at the very end of everything. So I think that's happening. But it's also getting you to listen to your own instinct on things, go with your gut instinct and start to listen to that, because that was what we were supposed to do a long time ago.
Yeah, it's like beginning to remember our own inner knowing is really what it boils down to, a remembrance thing. And this is why it's good to hear from other different people, because as long as it's truth, of course, because what resonates with one person saying it versus how somebody else might say it a little different can make a big difference in terms of an understanding that can be shared with others then. You know what I mean?
Right. So. And that's the whole thing with this is just the downloads when I got on this 3 years ago. I mean, the pink is the beginning of the process. The clouds had to go into a pink fog, but what it represents is a calmness that's coming, but a signature of calmness that's coming, and how it reaches us and how we can embrace that color of bringing comfort. And when I do classes, pink is that same diagram for me on the other side. It's this pink comforting knowing. But it gets you to pay attention, but also be in a calm state with it, which is important.
Well, the frequency of the earth is certainly rising.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
It definitely is. And
it's just things are changing quickly on this whole process.
And people are beginning to remember who they really are. I really think that's starting to happen. More and more people are really starting to go within and starting to realize who they really are. And that makes all the difference in the world. And
I believe it is too, but so with what they were talking about, the ground, and the earth changing, and the red in the rivers, and then the Holy Land was they talked about that last golden city in the sky. I have a drawing I did with that because they showed me this picture. I'll show you in a second. I don't know if I can get it on here. We'll see. On a reflection, as in you're looking in the sky and you're seeing a reflection from it. That's the whole thing. It comes on with a reflection, and so when you're looking at this, you're going to see a glimmer, and not in a form of 3D. It's a glimmer of like uh, a mirror. It's a mirror of everything. So when they show a tree down here and then like a door above, but everything, it looks like it's a mirrors everything. It mirrors colors in the sky. It's a reflection. And this is what we have to pay attention to when things get closer, that we have to look at things in a 5D process instead of a 3D. And seed of life, and so you're not going to be looking at this as a what we see here on this earth. You're going to be looking at a different concept. That's what's important about this.
cool.
So, and we're going to see things in the sky that we've never seen before. And they always showed me, the ley lines, which were in an activation of the ley lines, pyramids, and some pyramids that we see that were in the ground. They always showed me that some can move. They always were able to move up, that they were already here, and they were transported in a different way that you don't realize. So this was another thing. This is just a example picture. I wonder if I can even get that one. The colors are different, but yeah, it's
yeah, it's kind of tricky.
Yeah, but yeah, that's how it is. And that you'll see this stuff in the sky moving in a different way. And they're showing me that. They showed me this a long time ago.
Wow.
So it's important that we understand what are the signals of the pink fog and what it's doing. And I'll go into more layers on that. So like the pink fog is a sign of the alignment, not danger. Pink fog is a frequency marked. So it shows the old timeline, new timeline overlapping from the last time. It is a visual sign that the veil is thinning. The pink frequency is the call to the heart, an activation of compassion, clarity, and truth, exposing what is false, stabilizing what is real, and how their bodies will feel. Ringing, buzzing in the ear, emotional waves, tired but wired, shifting memory awareness. What comes from after the pink fog is the sound will come. The frequency of creator, not man. It's a heightened intuitive clarity. Clarity will rise. Truth become obvious. The system cannot hold the light. It will crack. The heart will lead the mind. People will navigate by feeling and not fear. What the public should know now: stay calm and grounded, hydrate, turn into a sign of a dream or anything. Don't ignore it. Stay connected to each other. You are not you are not witnessing chaos. You are witnessing a birth. The pink fog arrives in the highest field. Follow the light, not the noise.
Yeah, and we got a lot of noise.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's the whole thing is you just got to look at this in a different way. Where we're going on this whole process of things.
Oh, look at this. Gisela has been seeing pink fog and reports on Mr. BB333. That's pretty cool.
I don't know what's B333. I don't know.
I don't know how to explain it, but he does a lot of reports on a regular basis. Atmospheric type reports. What's going on? If anybody's out there, help me out on this one, because I'm not thinking. Yeah. I know who that is. I've seen him, and I've
right.
I know he's a respected reporter of what he reports.
Right.
And
so the pink, it gets you to pay attention, but it also brings a calmness and a stillness. It also gets you to look up, which is important, to be paying attention to what's going on in the skies. And that was the thing. And then they talked about the sun, how the sun would change and how the brightness would change and how the warmth would come in. And those are, I can have G put that other YouTube in there that goes over all of this, but in the chat. But the whole thing is, that it's all connected together. And then it talked about the ship, which is everybody's wondering about it. And then they're like, oh, this is all negative. This is grays. This is reptilian. This is bad. I mean, that's the whole thing. And then people jump on that bandwagon. And the first thing I saw with that is the light, this bright yellow light with that ship. It was made of energy. The collective of it is energy. And it reminded me of remember the organic ship. And this is the process of this. So the thing about it is it's going to change everything. It's going to change our world. And this is where you're looking at this and you're seeing the pink around the earth. The pink was very specific that they showed me. So the layers of the pink were the first process of this, and then I got a light color of, there's a purple in there, a little light purple. They showed on that too. But what you really want to pay attention to is the earth and how they show the reflection of all the shifting in a yellow, like a gold, frequency on earth. Oh, I wonder I hate it when you can't get these. Yeah, there's a gold frequency here that shows on earth and how it's changing.
Interesting. Yeah. That Mr. BB333, he shows what's happening with the sun, and he also posts what a lot of people send to him are anomalies that they see in the sky. So he's an interesting guy to follow, because a lot of people have been sending stuff in, so that's pretty interesting.
Well, I mean, there's so much of it right now. You can't deny what's going on at all on this level of stuff that's happening with this. I mean, and that's the whole thing. Everything is connected with this. This is connected to the ley lines. This is connected to the pyramids. We're in an activation mode with this.
Awesome.
And so the next thing that has to happen is the sound. The next phase with this is sun changing and sound. So you're going to hear a vibration in the ear that is the knowing. A rhythm within Earth's. It's coming. They said it's going to come from Earth's core first and then rise up. And then everybody's going to think it's up, and it's not. It's actually coming from Earth itself and then reacting. And then we're going to be paying attention to what's going on with it. So that's the main key with this is it's a pattern that happens. But they also said, and I had to go back to probably about a year and a half ago, another YouTube, and they talk about this blue star. that blue star, what they call the blue star, that would be blue around it, it would come into our atmosphere, and this would ring in the golden age because a new star is born upon this development. So, which I thought, I found that was interesting. And now we have this ship. And like I said, when I looked at what they're showing, I think that outer shell is what they think our mindset can handle, but that's not the original form that it is, what's going on with it at all. So, so that, because remember, we perceive what our minds can take, or our veil of understanding. So what I'm saying is the true light with it, the true frequency that comes from it, each person might see it a different way. It depends on your conscience, because this is coming in an activation process is what it's doing. It's an activation. And usually when I pick something up negative, it's pretty heavy. There's a different tone with it, a vibration with it, and I'm not getting that at all. And this is not like it has not activated before here. And they're also showing there's a piece of it that's been in the ocean for a long time. So there's not just, this is flying by again. This is something that's always had an activation component that's been in the ocean. And that's going to be interesting because they showed me a picture in Antarctica of it looks like a bubble, a round ship, and it has these almost like these antennas that go completely across it. And then, but it's self-sustaining. And on the top, there's a gold light, and on the bottom, there's a gold light. So what is going to come from this in certain areas of activation, or what you need to be paying attention to now? Sound is the next step that is important to focus on. So now you're seeing.
Oh, listen to this, Jenny. Mr. BB, that got posted sounds as well. So people are hearing sounds already too. That's pretty interesting.
Right. So the sounds are part of the activation. So what you want to look for, you got the pink cloud. That was number one. The sounds and vibration. So, and I want you to understand that people are at different perceptions. They're at different levels of understanding. And so people are going to hear it in different ways. So the sounds are going to come in, and like you do with frequency, it's a clear pitch. Your vibration, your chakras are going to be able to handle it a certain way. It depends on where you are at spiritually on those vibrations. So you're going to hear those tones. And once those tones hit, then all of a sudden, what you're going to be doing is paying attention to the ground, how the ground's going to activate after those tones and vibration hit the earth, because the ley lines are activated. They are activated. And so this is part of the system coming back on again. So, and so that means with those ley lines being activated, there's going to be certain earthquakes in many areas, because those plates have to reshift to the top again.
Okay.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I just had an interruption, but that's okay. They didn't know I was doing a show. Okay. Anyway, going on. Moving right along. So the planet that has a crystalline lattice network, and the strongest points are nodes. And these nodes used to have crystalline healing temples, as I understand it, with high frequency harmonic healing and manifesting the structures.
Yeah.
And then they put all these other energy suppressing things on top of where nodes were the most active.
Right.
So that's all
that's
going
when we
away,
go back to, that's when we go back to this, okay? Because as the reflection, everything is a reflection. Again, what is your mind inner self able to see. People, when they try to understand, they think in the 4D and the 5D, people are going to see the same thing. They're not. It has to do with perception inside you, what you're able to understand at your veil of understanding. That's a hard thing for people to get. So reflection and mirror effect is going to be part of a lot of what you're going to see in the sky. I mean, and you're going, as motion of seeing things move, because you're trying to adapt to it in the 3D, and you've got to allow it to be at its original form that it is. It's very important to accept whatever that form is. So this is an example that they showed as you're looking in the sky, seeing a reflection of mirror effect. That's the whole thing it's changing differently. And then seeing things open. So you're going to see a lot of circle motion, clouds making forms of a circular motion. So that's the whole thing. What I think is next is with this aligning, and this goes into the red. I call it the ruby lake. I call it the ruby mark, because they said on both ends of the ruby lake that I have, this coincides. So you're going to expect to see that red in the sky again over Antarctica. It's an activation process. So when that shows up again, then because they always showed me that was going to move towards the states. So when that does, this is all, everybody, they want to separate everything, but actually it's all coming to an activation process together as one. And that's what's going on.
Wow. So it's like it's all converging at the same time. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. It's nothing that is, it's not separated. It's all, for a ship to come by in our world that size, and what it's bringing is it's activating. That's what it's doing. And as it's getting closer, it's already starting its entry point to activate. That's what people are thinking. They're waiting for it, but it's already in an activation mode. It's already affecting Earth. And if this thing starts to break down, and like I saw in particles, and move in particles, that's a normal process that they show me that's going to happen. And so, and you're going to see a lot of it. If it does break off, you're going to see it go into the sea and the desert. Those are, and the rainforest area. It's just, you want to look at it. The way I see that ship is, you want to see a Rubik's Cube, and you saw it in the sky, and then when it gets to a certain surface, it's going to scatter like a puzzle and knows where to go. So I'm just telling you, you're going to see little particles come from it and everything else. So people, you got to really stay outside the box on this and not compare it to anything you've seen here, because you're not going to see anything that you're going to compare it to here at all. And you want to keep an eye on Antarctica, the activity that's going to happen out of there in this process. So, that's the thing. It's just, I would suggest that our video that I did on this whole process, to go back to my YouTube and just listen to it, because there's just tons of detail on it.
It's in the chat. So,
okay.
If people will look in the chat, I put it up on the screen here for a minute, but it's easier in the chat to copy and paste it than it is on the screen. I don't think you can do that on the screen. So,
right.
Get it out of the chat while you can, because sometimes these places don't always print the chat out, after the show. So if you can get it now, it's the best time to get it. And I can add it to the Rumble video, but Rumble makes me angry because I can hardly put anything in the description at all without them saying it's too long or whatever. So I just didn't put anything in there. And then after the show is over, then I can go put stuff in the description. It seems to work better that way. It's just a little extra step that
exactly
if you didn't have to do it, but it is what it is. So I just do it.
Yeah, exactly. So the whole thing is, it's not the end times, it's the beginning of the golden age. And then you want to look at, and everybody thinks on Earth, as in the Earth citizens of this world, have control of what's coming in, and they do not. Man has no control over this whatsoever. And then I think I quoted something a couple years on that, I'll have to look for that. What they showed on that too is basically that they're just going to sit back and watch the process and accept it. And so we just have to be patient and watch what it activates, because this is not the first time this has happened. It's happened before. And like I said, the ringing, the humming, the crystalline process is all going to be activated. And that's the whole thing. I mean, people are starting to understand what's in your body. It's not the flesh, the bone, all that whole process, that there's, those actual crystallines within you on this process. And then we're not going into a flesh bone process again. We're going into our original form. So that's the whole thing, that everything's changing and everybody's trying to assume what this is. But at the very end, when it appears and shows itself, and I tell people, if they're telling you to go inside your house, you need to go outside your house and look at it and pay attention to it. Do the opposite of what they're telling you, because they're afraid this might change you. And, you can't be a person of mind control anymore. If you see something like this, it changes you forever. And that's what I think we're going to bear the witness. It's important that we see this.
Okay. I had a question. Somebody asked a question we didn't answer. They were asking do you know if all of the ley lines have been activated?
I know, and Trump was talking about the 144, and this has been a while, and he says once they get activated, that you can't stop what's going on. And then now their memory of what they were here to do is coming back. And I know completely that is in an activation mode, and those people are going to the areas that they need to go to activate them. So we have to go into our higher self. One of those higher self processing of memory is coming back. They're going back to doing something that they have the memory of doing now to do it. They have the technology of understanding it because the memory is coming back. So yes, it is in the activation mode.
And it's my understanding that the parasites or the controllers that have been suppressing everything, that has been, much of it's been removed, and the source, what I'm getting at is source energy is back running through the earth grids, whereas before it was very much blocked.
Yes, it is. It's in high activation mode now. It is, and it was like I said, I have a picture of Creator, and it just shows his energy, and it shows that, I'm not going to lead this for anybody else anymore. I'm going to do it myself, which I don't blame him, and that's where we're at. I mean, we're following that light. We're following the frequency. We're following the true, how we were made with our soul. And that's calling you back home. That's the information is calling you inside your whole being. It's important. And I tell you, these black sheep of the family, the introverted people, they're in an activation mode. It's unreal right now. And there's a reason why they were quiet and they held information inside them, and they didn't put it out publicly. They didn't care about the judgment. They just knew something was going to call them eventually. And now that's where they're at. It's, each one is a podium of light that's being called upon. There's always something that they're giving to this world, and it's being called upon them. And that's the whole thing. At the very end, everybody's going to know how important that was. and how it's going to change. And so and then in that whole transformation of the download of this, I always said at the very end, in this process, this will bring you to your knees and make you humble. Because as the pink clouds showed in this, it's not going anywhere. It's going to stay. I feel the stillness, this quietness of earth at that moment, that incredible moment that comes with us. And it's just, like I said, important, because you don't hear anything. You hear the stillness, but you see the sky in a beautiful way and the sun in a beautiful way. And you feel this comfort with this. And that's what's important.
Well, I had an experience today that was very interesting, because I actually went out into the woods and nature today, and I made a declaration of sovereignty and remembrance. And I actually felt a response. There was pressure in my crown. My chest was like it was. It sounds this sounds really crazy, but it was like it's burning, but it's not hot, if that makes any sense.
Right, exactly. It's an activation. It's an activation.
And so I had that. And then there was a total calmness. It was as if, the air had just stopped. The sun came out from behind the clouds. And I mean, the synchronicity of it all was absolutely amazing. So I really, it's giving me goosebumps just talking about it right now, to telling you this. So
and the thing is, Gail, what you're feeling is there's people all over the world feeling it, and they're not saying it, but you're saying it on here, and I hear it daily. What they're going through, different changes, and that's what I'm talking about, is the negative, the whole process, the whole thinking process of a negative. What is reality? What is true? We make that reality. It's not a solid basis on what we think is. Everything's energy. Everything is created from energy. So now, the way you look at things and view things, and they said, be careful what you think, because it can happen fast now in energy and direction and conscience and levels and of understanding in this process. So the whole thing is fear. I don't go into that. I don't feel it. I want you to, if you try to concentrate on fear, you can't feel it. It's like it's completely dissipated. You're just viewing things, but you're not connected to it no more. You understand? You get beyond that. And that's what's changing. It's the conscience of this world that's changing. And that's liberating. I mean, you see nations that are coming together as one. And they're fighting for the same fight. They're fighting for humanity. They're fighting for sovereignty, our freedom. And when they line up together, that alone changes the Earth's frequency as one. You have to understand, they're out of that enslavement mindset now. They have come to the point that they have to hold the line, and that's what's happening. And now you're seeing that your government is literally dismantling, because this is part of the process to completely dismantle all of it and start with a new one that is not government.
Yeah, which means govern your mind is actually what that means.
Yeah.
We don't want our mind governed. We want to be sovereign.
Exactly. So what I'm saying, again, it's changing. What's happening, where we're going, what's developing, all this stuff. It's completely changing. And so people, and I'm hearing, they're like, I've been doing this for a long time now, and all I'm hearing in my head now is just stay in the stillness, stay in the calmness, get rest. I'm like, what? I want to do that. I want to get things done. But
Yeah, that's that
but these are
programming from 3D to survive.
yeah, it is. It is.
But it is in the stillness. That's when we hear from source.
It is.
So, and I think the presence is definitely being made known to more and more people. One of the things I wanted to mention tonight, if you don't mind, is I was thinking about introducing something known as the Sovereign Flame Sisterhood.
Uh-huh.
Because the divine feminine is rising, not to overpower the masculine or anything like that, but to provide the balance that has been missing. Okay. And this is not like a hierarchy, it's not a religion, and it's not a movement to follow, but a remembrance to awaken. And I have this little saying thing that I'd like to read through real quickly. It's we walk as women who remember, not to be chosen but to choose, not to be saved but to ignite, not to claim power over but to stand in power with. We are the flame that cannot be owned, the truth that cannot be silenced, the compassion that cannot be weaponized. We rise not in competition but in coherence. We rise not to be worshiped, but to embody our source. Sisters of the flame, sovereign, unstoppable. We remember who we are, and as we remember, the world remembers with us.
Yep. And that's where, like, when you look at the pink and you feel that comfort and you feel that a different cuddling that you feel that you're getting from the earth that you haven't had in a long time. And nature is reacting to it too. And that's the whole thing. In that, they're talking about nature's standing beside you in this process too. And so everything has to come together, but the truth has to be seen too. And so one of the biggest things that's next in that prophecy that I did is the rivers of the rivers have to turn red in a different way to for a sign of understanding. So and that is part of it. And then they showed, like, again, this mirror effect that you would see in the sky. You want to call it the golden city or whatever, but yeah, they're showing you that too. So that's the whole thing, is to understand what we're going through right now, and that things are changing.
Well, it's one of those things that, really a lot of people don't have a clue because they've never been, this has never been brought to the surface before, really. Very few people ever talked about the changes that were coming forward as a result of, this shift that's happening, this energy shift, this increase in vibration and all that. Not very many people talk
They
about that.
only, I mean, I'm just you, and you know this. They once they hear about something, everybody just jumps on the bandwagon. They don't, but they never got the information. They're just riding the wave of that's what they're talking about, and that's why I'm saying. I always tell people that's why I do these prophecy predictions 2 years in advance, because I want the information out there, and then go back and read it just like this, because I want to see the details that happen and fold out in this process. It's very important to me when that happens. So so the whole thing is, you read stuff literally in the Bible and history and stuff like that, and it's people have a hard time thinking we're actually in these times. They're confused by it. They're like, how can we be? Because we're supposed to bear the witness in these times. If there's a generation that is strong enough to handle it, it was Generation X and the boomers. So we're in it. long term. So what can I say that's next? What's next is feeling motion. This earth moving, rotating, and feeling transparent. And the thing that they say, pay attention to pain. In this energy that changed, pay attention to pain. If you feel pain the same way, if you do not feel pain the same way, if you're not, and that's kind of the same way when we pass on, they notice that the pain goes away. So you look for miracles now. You look for things changing that are not normal with energy. And that's what's going to happen next. The sound and, heal thyself. Send things in a direction. Trust what you're able to do.
Let's see. I'm going to see if we have any questions here. Well, if anybody has any questions out there, put them in the chat. I'm looking to see if there's anything recent that you want to ask Jenny. I know tiredness has been a big deal. All of a sudden, I'll feel like, oh my God, I got to lay down.
Yeah, that happens with everybody. For like 30 minutes, you're passed out. And then all of a sudden, after that 30 minutes, you're like, okay, I'm back and again. So,
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the whole thing. I mean, you have to look at a reflection in the past 5 years. This doesn't happen. This didn't happen 5 years ago. To the way our body's reacting and how our body is reacting to energy and how we're healing. I mean, I want you guys to think about yourself. How many people 5 years ago, they would go to the doctor all the time. They would make appointments and all this stuff. And how many people now, they don't even go to the doctor anymore?
I never did, but I know
No,
why.
I mean, but I don't. And people I know, they don't go. So what I'm saying, it's all changing. We're evolving. Things are changing. We're putting the power back in our hands of deciding how we're going to cure ourselves.
Well, we're starting to see the corruption in the healthcare system as well. And this is part of the truth movement that's happening. Truth is coming out in all different areas. And it really
is. It is. And that's the whole thing is, what's the next reaction of things? And it's not your government. People are focusing too much on that. I mean, is what you see in your world changing?
Our government has not been our friend.
Right.
In reality, if you really look into it.
So, I mean, this is the thing, when I did that video, it was a long video, but there had a lot of information and everything. And when I do that, it was just, it's an important video to listen to because it really brings in these times that we're in and trust that it's okay for everything to change and it's different than what you're used to seeing. And yet you got to stay in that heart energy. You got to stay and keep fear away and know, like Spirit said, that, once everything flips and the golden age starts, what do you have to worry about? It starts over. Clean and clear. And then you create, and humanity and we can all work on these projects and change this world. And there's so many that are waiting for that line to cross that they can put their time and effort into that. This is the part that's going to be important. It's not the money that you're getting. It is what's after that comes to understand the abundance of life that is important. It is love, the ultimate process, and sharing that across this world, in this nation. But you're already seeing, you guys are already seeing the love be created. All these other continents and countries that are standing up that brings you to your knees. That is an embracement of it in this process. And that energy is just helping, shifting everything along that needs to be implemented for change, a push, a shove. But the hearts are changing in this world. And then we have to reflect and look at what we missed in the children. And that reflection in the river has to be seen to bear the witness of what has happened in the sacrifice. And then there's certain things in the ground that have to be brought back up to the surface so we can accept our true past, not the past that's been lied to about our past, but the truth needs to be seen. And so you feel it in your heart that you know you're on the right path now, that something's changing, because this knowing that everybody has had since a young kid, knowing that this, you can feel the true path is here. The energy is changing, but it's guided by something good.
Yes.
We all are feeling
it. Someone mentioned about when I spoke about the experience I had. It was always a beautiful experience, that activation. But it was also mentioned we're in a strong purge as well. And I had to say, after the feelings in my chest, and I also had some in my solar plexus, like a churning kind of thing. And I believe that was purging something, maybe an old contract, or maybe something that.
Well, I'll give you the signs that's
still
that's happening, Gail.
Hmm.
Okay, dry cough, and then you get the phlegm that comes up too. There's a phlegm that comes with it too. When you want to know if your body's purging spiritually this stuff out, that's just no longer.
Mm-hmm.
When you change in your levels of conscience levels, and it resides in it. And this is, and you can use this in what I use on possessions too. You're seeing, when you see a possession and they foam at the mouth and all that stuff, you know what I'm saying? Because when you're spitting truth upon them, it makes them foam it out. But what I'm saying is you have this foam that comes, and if you look up physical mediums, that comes out of their mouth too. So there's a cough with it.
I didn't have that experience, but that sounds gross.
Yeah, but I mean, it does happen. But
mm-hmm.
There's these spiritual signs when you're dealing with, a change, and the cough, the vibration. And I've gotten to a point where I can't talk because I could feel the vibration so strong of stuff coming up. So all of us as the humans, we're all detoxing right now. Like I said, with this vibration that's coming in, like everybody's worried about when it's here. I'm like, the energy's already here. The frequency's already in our direction of our path, and it is already reacting. It's reacting, and we are activating in the process. And that's the thing that's happening. So, you got to look at your skin, how your skin's reacting to change, to how your body's reacting. Everything is detoxing and aligning again.
Yeah, alignment. It's all about alignment and resonance.
Yes. So, and this is the thing. I mean, they can tell you, like I said, there's pink out there, but they don't know what's next. They don't know what's coming next, because they weren't told that. And so that's what I'm telling you. I'm giving you that answer. It is the sound. It's the vibration. But that also, it's coming from the earth, and it's coming from within you, and it's aligning you, and that's the truth. And then, like I said, the suns will be a brighter sun. And then the biggest part of this was the humbleness that'll bring you to your knees. And that's an important process of this. So this is a completely positive process that we're going through. It's not negative.
I don't know why. I have a notification on somewhere, and I don't know. It keeps sending things, and I don't know how to shut it off at the moment. So that's why you keep hearing that. Do you hear that? Or whatever it is. Sorry about that. I don't know where it's coming from. Anyway, let me see if we got any more questions here. Oh, we have someone in here mentioned that he had a near-death experience, and he's going to talk about it on Rumble channel about the quantum condition. Got everything, everywhere, all at once is a documentary. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know about that, but I just put that out there for you. Let's see. So everybody will be going through these things at different times or levels of activation, or
Yes.
Depending where they're at and what they're aware of. I believe.
Okay, you want to go down, let's look at the religion way of things, and
Okay.
they said that, this is a different awakening for them, and that they would all leave and their souls would go back home, and that's the whole thing that's happening in a different way. Because you're going to shed this body. You're going to shed it. I mean, it only gets to a certain point. That's why we're here on earth, and then our spirit is forever, and that's what's changing, and we're evolving, and so the physical vessel will change.
We'll have our light
And it'll
body.
yes, the light body. So I did a drawing along 3 years ago on the med beds, and I'm going to explain this to you because I want to go over this to understand when they don't talk about this. So when they show this, I want to use this as a reference. Okay. So everything's energy on this. And so there's so much light frequency that's in these. And these are like 3 glass plated layers. There's an orange layer, a yellow layer, a green layer. So there's different frequencies, different levels. And then they had this thing that would turn around, circulate. Let me tell you, it was weird that to get near it, to get near the grid of this, on the floor of it, it's like, I don't want to say fire, but you have to have a certain frequency even to get on these grids of it. And people are, and then this energy above, there's just complete energy submerges around this stuff all the time. So this is where, your normal doctor and your normal nurse and your normal pediatrician can't get near these systems, and, it has to be, it's your energy that makes it qualified to get near these. That's why the negative cannot get in these or step near them. They can't heal by them, right? Everything's frequency and energy. So it's important. That was, I don't know, 3 years ago they had to draw that one out. But it's almost like they're on grids in a different way. And then I believe there are these gateways that's been on this earth for a long time, and those gateways are opening up. And those are connected to the ley lines. Again, we're going back to, the original fault lines, the original grid lines, the original serpent mounds. All this stuff is an activation process.
And so people are being activated whether they know it or not. They should know it, though.
They should by now.
So, oh darn it, I wish I knew where that was coming from. Anyway, sorry. But somebody's wanting about, I don't like to go here. The show's not about this, but people always ask these questions about how's the money system, RV looking, anything, will anything happen this year?
Yes, and I already think it's activated. I think it's already activated. So how they start distributing is what they lay out first, what they start to bring forth. I mean, I just never believed that this, after all this process, they want to give you $2,000. I mean, it's just nothing.
And not
I mean,
until next year either.
right? And I don't think it's nothing. So, and the thing is, it's just like you want to save humanity and do the right thing, and just publicly announce about the IRS and completely sever that whole process. We would all be happy. That's actually the biggest break the chain process right there.
Yeah,
Um,
confirming some of that would be really nice.
they wouldn't have to pay us. All they do is cut it, sever it, period, across the board. Then um, that alone would change everything at that moment, and you would get everybody's attention.
Oh,
So that 14% tax just needs to be implemented for sales tax and the tariff, and just get that done. They can cram that $2,000 up their ass. Who cares? Let's get the big stuff done.
Right on. As New York's asking, when will the NPCs hit the floor?
Oh my gosh, I hope it's soon. That to bear that witness and get it over with. Because there's lights everywhere. You can see, there's cameras everywhere in that city, and I think they picked that specifically. But I would tell you, before that happens, you're going to see a lot of drones in that city, on the streets, everywhere. So that's part of that process that would be implemented. First, there's your first sign, is seeing drones everywhere in low areas, people walking and everything. So surveillance in a different way.
Somebody's asking, will insurance companies be gone in the next 5 years?
Yes. Hallelujah. Another
Really?
scam.
Yeah, big scams.
That's a big scam.
Okay. Yeah, that's a discovery here. I was always at the doctor until the last 5 years. I'm healthier without them.
Yeah. I mean, our ancestors didn't have a choice. I mean, society said that we have a choice, and that choice we were too dependent on. So no.
Somebody's
They're
asking,
hurting.
are the pink skies perceptible to everyone?
Yes. But your veil of understanding of how you perceive them has to understand that your conscience level is at. And then how you feel it, how you embrace it, how you accept it is at different levels. So it's that I have that picture of the 3D path, of people following that 3D path, and I had the picture of the 5D path, and it shows the golden age and the golden key and going off into that. So it has to do with your perception of what you're accepting, and they have a choice. The 3D people have a choice. They say, I don't want this change. I want to stay in 3D. I don't want change. And that's what they're going to get for themselves. They'll be limited.
Boy, they don't know what they're asking for that way. That's for sure. Somebody, see, here we go. Do you see us receiving 2,000 anytime soon? I don't.
Honestly, guys, I think that's a prop. I really do. I don't believe, because to come this far and then they just give you $2,000. It's same thing when Obama gave you 1,000. It's not a big deal. It's not.
Yeah, remember when they first came
they
out?
Were enslavement bullshit.
Exactly.
It's not going to satisfy you. It's not going to help you. Not in the debt process that we're in. It's not enough. It's just another crumb. And that's the whole thing with it. It's not enough. And not enough to impact anybody's lives. It's just a crumb. Yeah.
It's just amazing that they even put that out there. First, remember, at first they said 5,000, and then all of a sudden it's down to 2,000, and I'm going, this is just a joke. Who are you kidding?
It's a stage presence. It's to confuse on purpose. And that's what people don't understand. This whole Epstein stuff they're putting out right now, it's got everybody so mind fucked on the situation. They don't know left, they don't know right, they don't know straight. It was like, what is going on with this whole thing? All this is exposure on every end of things. And then when they finally push the actual truth out there, you're going to be surprised of how it comes out. And they're trying to get you to think on your own.
People are going to be forced into thinking on their own pretty soon.
They need to. So one thing I want to say is they talk about the blue, they call it the blue star because there was a, which is ringing in the golden age, but the blue star is a bluish around white. They show the white and there's blue around it. There's like an aqua blue around this coming towards Earth. And that's the symbol of bringing a new star in. And this is the thing that somehow they was connected to Elon Musk that's going to somehow implement that or print that in front of you. And you're not seeing that that's what he's putting the signature of, the new star.
Well, Anthony just said here, and this is interesting because I don't know what he's referring to because I haven't looked at Carrie Cassidy lately. This is overwhelming evidence, Carrie Cassidy. It just got more crazy. Bizarre things are beginning to happen. What bizarre things, Anthony? Give us a clue. Besides the pink skies. That's not a natural phenomenon, is it, Jenny?
No.
I mean, it is not normal at all for our skies to be pink. You have to realize that. And I've seen them here, too. They were pink a few days ago.
Yeah, and I think it started, there was pink, but I think as soon as Sasha Stone put a couple of remote viewers and scientists and astrologists on a show, and then it seemed like it grew from there on some information. So it kind of spread from that point. So I'm just saying that if they're sharing the information that needs to be shared, and hopefully they're putting the information out there that needs to be correct. But what I'm saying is the chain effect that's coming with this, the pink sky is just the beginning. It's just one process of this.
Maybe that process of the pink skies, because of its effect, maybe that is the creator or source's way of, as people are exposed to all these truths that are some pretty nasty truths out there that are not exactly pleasant to know. The colors have an effect on us as well. So maybe it's, to benefit us in a stillness kind of way, like what you were mentioning earlier.
Right. It is.
Yeah. Somebody else's.
It is because it's that inner stillness, not, it's not hearing the voice outside you and hearing it through your voice. It's listening within you. And I've when I did channeling sometimes or downloads of something, and I see some of these people that just go on and on and on, and I hear spirit go, they don't listen, they don't shut up, they're not listening at all. They're listening to themselves, and they're not listening inside, because we're inside, and that's the whole thing about it. It's the stillness that we need, that calmness, clarity of trusting it. That's what's important.
Yes, it is. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, somebody I mentioned this. This dancing is a great way to raise your vibration and to stay in a joyful mood.
Playing guitar and anything with a tone right now is a good process to handle.
Right. Especially if you can't get out into the woods or into nature somehow. That's another really positive avenue to go.
Exactly. So I think we're up to almost an hour.
Oh yeah.
Go over.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can it's hard for me to, like, if I want to replay it and we go over much, then I can't replay it. So it's good if we keep it to an hour. So anyway, any final words?
Well, I'm doing I'm doing a YouTube tomorrow night on my channel, talking about some other events that are coming, with rolling this out in a different way. So there's other stuff that's coming, and then how it coincides with what's going on in our world and everything. So I'll be talking about that tomorrow. Tomorrow night on my
Okay. Yeah, and if anyone is interested in this, what I mentioned about the Sovereign Flame Sisterhood, there's no permission, no membership, no gatekeeping, none of that kind of stuff. If that sounds, it sounds something of interest to you, let me know. And see if it goes anywhere from there. Anyway,
can we do the bell?
Oh yeah, thank you
Gotta
for
do the bell.
reminding me. I forget stuff sometimes. I swear, I try not to, but okay.
Doing the bell for the children. So
bell for the children, yes. Alrighty then. So, stay in the light.
Good night.
And we'll see you again soon. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
We have found our way. It's a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are, and like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show